both teams go actually quite close to losing both of the games which they won. So yeah, really nice performance out of both of them, and we have got some bans coming out now. Renekton, Rumble, Twisted Fate, Zed, Diana and Zac. Pretty standard, I think.
Yes, indeed, but what that has left open is that Kha'Zix, which will be quickly picked up from the blue team. And in turn, we do have ESC picking up that Thresh, who has not been banned out. And if Thresh isn't banned out, then he will definitely be picked up. But where is D-Man? D-Man is actually on ESC, so he's going to have that Kha'Zix taken away from him in that sort of AD carry assassin role in that mid lane that we've seen so many times, with D-Man just carrying games left, right and center. So it'll be interesting to see how D-Man and the rest of ESC cope with this on the other team this time round.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a pick that they've thought about there. They want to deny that Kha'Zix to D-Man. I mean, we did see him carrying what was pretty much a lost game back into victory when he was in the semi-finals against British Tea Time. So he's an incredibly strong Kha'Zix player, and obviously denying that pick, tactical advantage. But I have to say, ESC have taken some very strong first picks there. I mean, Shen and Thresh, both of them are ban-worthy, if not first pick-worthy characters, and they are both available and taken. So great mobility, great CC just from the top lane and support picks already.
Yeah, so it looks like Peculiar Gaming are going to go with the original sort of team composition of those assassins, picking up that Kha'Zix as well as the Elise as well, which you did see in that last game, looking to be very confident. In that last game, we did have amazing pick up, a lot of early game kill, basically 3 in a row, going through each of those lanes, but even with that early advantage, they were not able to snowball it. Maybe this time round with that Kha'Zix as well, looking to snowball an early advantage, but then maybe looking to pick up with that Caitlyn pick as well. And we do have potentially Carthus being picked up by ESC. Don't see that too often lately with all these strong mid laners, but it could definitely be on the cards for ESC at this moment.
Well, I know that I personally wouldn't want to play Carthus versus Kha'Zix. Carthus' general weakness is in that laning phase where he gets bursted down by someone incredibly assassin heavy. So, you know, having that Kha'Zix against you almost has the potential to 100-0 you. If not, he has the potential to kind of poke you down with those evolved spikes, and then from that point he can pretty much take you down whenever he wants. And obviously even Elise is an incredibly big threat against Carthus in that laning phase. He would obviously have a bit of difficulty, and it does look like they might swap that up with that KO, which wouldn't surprise me. I know I at least would never want to play Carthus versus Kha'Zix.
Yeah, definitely, and that KL pick makes a lot more sense. Looking to be more confident as well, laning against that Kha'Zix if he does choose to go mid. Could also be in that top lane, and wow, the Anivia now coming in as well. And that could be very interesting. So Kha'Zix up in that top lane, so we should be pretty confident, probably against that Shen as well. Not really going to be able to push him around too much, and Kha'Zix will get that free farm that he really likes to have. Unless we do have that top lane playing extremely well. But we do have Anivia now picked up in that mid lane. And again, we haven't really seen too much of Anivia as of late, but that would be very interesting to see. With this kind of assassin lineup as well, they could lock someone in and follow up as well.
It gives them a lot of disengage, it gives them a lot of zone control, especially when you couple that with that Janna, which they are definitely thinking about. It's a bit of a risk putting Janna in a lane in that she doesn't have the strongest laning phase, and that Thresh can obviously bully you around quite a lot, but couple that with Caitlyn, who has a pretty good synergy with Janna and is also a very strong early carry, and they can probably get away with it. It's a very, very good setup. Anivia obviously being the king of stalling out a game. If you try and push a tower and Anivia is there and you can't literally dive her through her CC and everything else, then odds are you're not going to push it at all. However, ESC do have that split push potential, they do have that Shen, so they don't necessarily need to crack that particular frosty egg.
Frosty egg, fantastic. So we do now have ESC picking up a very meaty team composition with that Thresh and the Varus in bot lane, so looking to be quite scary in that respect. Also with the Shen as well, so the global presence. KO as well with that intervention, and the front line consisting of that Vi. They are looking very, very strong in that team fight stage as well. It's looking to be very, very difficult to take down all over the board. However, on the other side, we do have that assassin composition, also with the Janna as well, maybe to push back some of those bruises from that strong front line. And the Ellie's picked up as well, so maybe looking for the strong early laning phase, but they have let the Thresh slip through their fingers, maybe looking for that Caitlyn and Janna lane to push that bottom lane around, and again, we might see some swaps up, as we've seen many Caitlyn lanes do before, maybe go mid, maybe go top, looking to push down that tower as fast as possible. But anyway, guys, we will be jumping into a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will be in Game 3 of Peculiar Gaming and ESC. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned for some more great League of Legends action. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the third game today in this grand finals of the EU West Challenger Series Week 2. Right now we have Peculiar Gaming duking out against ESC, with Peculiar Gaming taking the first game and ESC returning the favour in the second. They are running a slightly different composition, with ESC running a more traditional assassin composition. Sorry, that will be from Peculiar Gaming, but I am Pulse and I am joined by Spuddington. How is it going, man?
Pretty well right now, and we have actually got as you say, a very assassin-heavy composition, but not as assassin heavy as that first game, because they aren't running a triple assassin composition. There's only really Elise and Kha'Zix, and they actually have quite a lot of disengage on top of their normal assassination setup there. They've got that Anivia, or that new skin, which has the best joke in the world, and they have that Gianna, plus that Caitlyn, who's probably going to look to kind of kite around the edges of fights and just be a general damage output threat over time. And we have actually got Koi potentially looking to invade here.
Yeah, we do have Amazing just popping out the Volatile Sparking as well, just for vision as well, just to kind of push them back and know that Amazing is around the corner. Ward goes down just for that vision as well. Maybe having Felix place down that pink ward as well to remove it in that early game. Yep, there we go, and we'll be taking that down very quickly. Lots of wards coming all over the map as well from Peculiar Gaming, and it looks like maybe Caruso starting up with that red buff as well, maybe looking for that level 2 gank, or maybe even going for that mid and bottom gank, going for that best level 3, which we see favoured by so many junglers nowadays as well. And we do have Amazing just kind of sniffing around red once again.
Yeah, having that Amazing pink ward there. So having that pink ward there, clearing out that ward, will give Amazing a lot more options. It will enable him to take a lot more possible jungle paths, and it will obviously allow him a lot more pressure across the map. So obviously they'll have to play more carefully if they don't know where the enemy jungler is, if you're obviously up against that Elise there. So anyway, looks like they're going to be starting with that Golem's red buff route, which seems to be becoming a lot more common in these competitive settings. I don't actually know the specifics of it. I haven't really encountered it in solo queue. Probably requires a little bit too much coordination, but do you have any information about that?
Not at all. It might be worth asking one of these players after the game, because this is the second time, at least I've seen it in this tournament so far. Be kind of interesting. It might be something to do with the EXP and experience that they get, maybe a more sustained start as well. But we'll see after the game and see how this one pans out. But we will have Amazing picking up the standard route. But meanwhile, we do have JWoww going a very aggressive onto Koi, chunking him down. That was basically 1/5 of his HP being taken out by Taste Their Fear, and the isolation damage absolutely crazy.
And it seems that the red pot star has not gone away, and we've actually got Brokey getting exhausted in that bottom lane. Hammer putting down a lot of damage there. So actually the exhaust blow on Janna, but no exhaust, well no exhaust at all actually on Ryman Simon, but he has that ignite still available, so they have the potential to go for an all-in if they want to. But yeah, that red pot star, in spite of being nerfed in the last patch, still going strong. We have seen it multiple times, and we've actually got Ryman Simon going quite low. We've got Brokey looking for that hail of arrows. Coming in from the back is Vi, putting down a lot of damage on Phylox. It looks like they're confident they'll get that kill on Hammer. They are correct in that assumption. Does look like they pinned that out, but Caruso not quite able to take out Phylox. Pot power keeping him alive.
Hold on for, because meanwhile mid we do have an initiation onto D-Man. Fantastic. Cocoon will lock that one up and pick that with just some more auto attacks from that Amazing on Elise. Now picking up the Wraiths as well to counter jungle. And everyone looking very strong all over the map. Ryman Simon landing a fantastic death sentence in that bottom lane engage. And now Felix just kind of left the bottom to defend on his own.
If you are going to defend on your own as a support, probably Janna is the one to do it. She does have that Howling Gale, does have that shield, will keep her tower a little bit stronger, and obviously can last hit a little bit better as well with that AD steroid, but obviously if she gets hooked by Ryman Simon, she will go down. So I expect that we'll see her go back, but actually she did just pop a pot, so it looks like she's planning on staying in the lane and waiting for the enemies to return to her instead of going back herself.
Yeah, so I was just talking with Broken Shard as well, and he said that by starting with those golems, then it's easier to split tank with sort of single target junglers like Vi, so it's easier to transition onto the red buff. And also, if you do blue and then go straight onto those wraiths, then you'll 100% get that level 3. But meanwhile, mid we do have an engagement onto D-Man, as he's just kind of duking around with Hell goes down as well from Amazing, looking to follow with that Venomous Bite and some more damage. But we will have Reckoning coming out onto Grillum, but just locked into that egg form, as that rebirth will bring him back into the game.
Yeah, and right now it's looking pretty bad for D-Man. He's generally done very, very well in these games thus far, but at the moment he is just getting camped to all heaven, and it is a very bad situation for him because Anivia is going to hit level 6 ahead of him. It's definitely a huge threat from that, and that means that he's going to be forced into a situation where he doesn't have his ult, he can't really all in, and he also can't really harass, because every time he harasses he's going to get Glacial Storm coming down, then he'll get the Frostbite on top of that, and possibly the Stun Wall. Anivia has the damage to take him out entirely, and in bottom lane, actually Caitlyn goes very low, but up top we have Amazing coming in on this top. He does have that stun available, he's not going to go for it though.
Yeah, and just juking away from that Koi, fairly tanky at this stage as well, and the Shadow Dash, fairly difficult to gank that Shen at the moment, but he is being pushed around by JWoww, who's looking very, very scary indeed, with those voice spikes being maxed and the amount of damage coming in from Taste their Sphere as well. He's in a very dominant position, and you can only feel that he's going to be a massive threat when we get into that team fight stage, and maybe even the laning phase as well, if he decides to go ahead and roam. Once again, Janna just down at the bottom defending and placing down those pink wards as well. Lots of those fights going in terms of those wards. And Elise is going to farm the jungle. But we do have Caruso looking for this gank at top. JWoww now juking into the bush, cutting that vision. But Caruso now jumping in with the Vault Breaker. Flash comes out from JWoww, just keeping himself alive as Caruso is forced to back off.
Yeah, that's going to put him in a much better situation now. Obviously, Shen being pushed up against his tower means he can just kind of sit around and make sure that the lane doesn't push out too hard, and that will prevent JWoww from getting super aggressive on him because he has to fear that aggression. But we actually have D-Man in mid going very low. Gulum is out of mana and Caruso is coming in for this. Reckoning goes down. He is looking for that Vault Breaker. Doesn't actually connect, but the Ignite has gone down. No egg is available. Flash is available though. Caruso cannot quite pursue this, and it looks like he may actually keep going though. Not going to be doing that though, just forcing Gulum to walk a little bit further before he can recall. Obviously, that's going to give Kale a little more time to shove in the lane.
Yeah, but meanwhile, bottom, we do have Caruso now being spotted by that pink ward as he moves into this bottom lane. Hail of Hours will land onto him as well, landing the Vault Break onto Felios, now turning attention to that Caitlyn. Exhaust goes down, but we will be forcing that one back. But a lot of damage coming in from that piercing arrow, but we do have Amazing coming in from behind. Now the Shen ultimate to follow up as well. Just popping down that lantern to bring him back into a sort of more of a cluster, but that will be forcing that engagement back. And Shen's ultimate paying dividends. However, meanwhile, top lane, JWoww is going to be quite happy to push that one in.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a miscommunication there, I feel, by ESC. That Shen ultimate was the key time to re-engage, but it was actually the time where the bottom lane decided to disengage. They went out with that Thresh, who just kind of pulled that lantern back, and actually they were pulling back just as Shen came in. So Shen actually has cost himself possibly his entire tower, if not the majority of it, in terms of health, that is. And, oh wow, Gulum actually is possibly going to go down from this, but it does look like that flash coming in from Caruso. One more auto attack or the Vault Breaker, which is coming up in 4 seconds, but he can't actually do the damage and actually is going to go very low himself. So that's a very, very unfortunate situation. But as I was trying to say, it's cost Shen a lot to go down to that bot lane without achieving anything.
Yeah, definitely. So in that mid lane, we did have Grolin just bursting down D-Man. I think he was just trying to bait for Caruso by slightly overextending, but it wasn't enough. But we have Grolin getting very aggressive, lands the Glacial Storm into that E as well, picking up another kill. Very nicely played by Grolin as well in that 1v1 scenario, even on very low mana. Perfect knowledge of that champion and just how much damage it can do with that little mana.
Peculiar Gaming right now are taking a huge advantage in this early game. This is generating a lot of extra gold, a lot of extra XP on their side. They have got actually a farm disadvantage for Anivia, but that's just because Anivia is very difficult to farm with. She is going to pick that up though once she's got, you know, a blue buff and starts to really just farm with her abilities all the time. Kale, on the other hand, is not going to get much better at farming and is going to have some problems with being bullied around. But Peculiar Gaming, as I say, taking several advantages across the map. It's 5-1 to them, and you can see it in top. Koi being pushed back a little bit, wants to go and ward, and you can see it in bot as well. Caitlyn, Hummer, as I'm going to call him, is just pressuring that tower down quite significantly.
Yeah, for sure, but that also meant, as that kill was picked up onto Vi, that was allowing Elise to pick up that blue buff as well. So now Elise has the blue buff and will be able to donate another blue buff for Nivea. That means that, once again, D-Man will not have that blue buff, so he'll be in a worse position in that mid. And Nivea will have it as well, forcing it to his turret, making it very, very difficult for him to want to farm on the turret and basically return that harass as well. At the same time, Amazing looking very scary with that double buff. And in a very dominating position with 2 and 0, picking up the Haunting Guys. You can only feel that they might snowball this out of control, as we saw in the first game. We do have Caruso kind of sniffing around top, maybe looking for this gank, but unsure whether if JWoww has just gone ahead and recalled because he is still in that brush, maybe looking to burst out and do some damage to Koi. Landing the Void Spikes and very, very strong at the moment. Lots of damage coming out, even on a tanky champion like Koi on Shen.
Amazing is possibly looking to roam to this top, and it looks like he might run straight into Caruso. Both of them are level 6. He's going to just face check it, and Vault Breaker is actually going to try and get Caruso out. He is going to get followed with Repel, but no significant damage in the long term right now. It looks like Amazing is going to be just pushing in this top lane with that assistance, and Koi is having to play very carefully. This tower is going to go down now.
Yeah, just looking to be more aggressive, picking up this turret quite easily. We do have Anivia now roaming as well, landing that auto attack onto Caruso. Crystallize goes down, but he will already be out of there, and the Flash Frost as well. We do have D-Man just moving around the side, putting down the vision ward just to get some more vision in that jungle, but just a testament to how far behind they are. They're forced to put defensive wards down already in their jungle, and it looks like we do have Peculiar Gaming now pushing into that inner turret. They do not have, however, have that minion line to keep them pushing in. And I think everyone will now just be backing off.
Yeah, they don't really have much need to push it further. Obviously, they do want to take that tower, but it would be quite risky for them to do so. JWoww is running quite low on this mana. He does have a tier, does have, you know, nearly 300 mana, but it does look like they're going to pressure this. Carries are coming in. The taunt has gone down on JWoww. He's actually not the one that's tanking the tower, though. Amazing did that month before, and that's actually thrown off their damage calculations. JWoww is going to get out of there just about, I think, with a tiny sliver of health, and it looks like blowing up the Ignite has not actually achieved very much at all. And we do have Caruso now in a bit of a spot. We have got amazing duking out the taunt. He's not going to go for the aggression though.
We do have D-Man now returning into a fantastic cocoon lead over that wall, but D-Man still chasing after, popping his Divine Blessing to give him a bit of extra movement speed, maybe to catch up to Amazing. We maybe feel like he might be able to turn this around.
Sorry, no, bottom lane there was an engagement.
But we'd had another engagement from Amazing onto D-Man, but he will now be backing off. In fact, Anivia now coming in on the side. Grullen can very go. Flash Frost goes down, just missing. Now flashing over the wall. In fact, Glacial Storm goes down, and the invulnerability from Intervention. Amazing actually going into Repel, just out of range to jump onto him, but will be picked up anyway by Grullen from that Anivia. Another flash goes down, drifting out of the way of that Flash Frost, and the Crystallize comes out as well, just to keep Koi on his toes. But we do have Caruso now coming in from the side as well, charging up that Vault Breaker, looking to jump onto Amazing, lands it as well, moving in, looking to get on that denting blow, but will be stunned down by that cocoon, looking in a much better position right now.
Yeah, it was a huge amount of time just spent stunned there at the end. I think White was looking to do that little bit of extra damage on Amazing, but couldn't find any ability to actually move, and that's kind of the power of having that disengage ability. Having Elise, who actually does work pretty well in disengage comps because her stun is very reliable if people are charging at you. It's only when they're not charging towards you that it's unreliable as a skill shot, and obviously Anivia putting down a lot of CC on top of that can follow up extremely well if that happens. And Phylog's getting quite aggressive in that bot lane, considering he's got no mana and no tower.
Yeah, and because there is no tower in that top lane from Kha'Zix, he has decided to now rotate bottom, maybe looking for this gank to happen. We do have Caruso now backing off as well. That bot lane, as you said, being quite aggressive, and they are definitely behind because Ryman Simon and that Brokey combo has picked up that bottom turret, but they will now be moving onto this Drake, despite not having that turret there, but they are 5-man strong. Shen does have that ultimate up, ready with Stand United, but I don't think any of them are really aware, and they should be able to pick this up basically for free.
Yeah, PG are just too far ahead right now to reasonably contest in a 5-on-5, and especially given how strong Anivia is at this point in time. She is going to be putting out so much damage and putting out a huge amount of control, and they just don't have the ability to actually stop her from doing that, and that's a half health D-Man just from getting caught out of position by like a tiny bit. I think he went to clear rates and then actually got caught out, but D-Man has been forced to pop his ultimate and is now sat in the ultimate from Anivia. But that mid tower is going to go down. So just one more auto attack, and Grullen obviously doing a dominant showing here on that Anivia.
Yeah, the intervention forced to be popped by D-Man, however, is on a very, very low cooldown, will be up very, very shortly, in just around a minute, but he didn't have that for a little while. And right now, we still have Peculiar Gaming looking very, very strong against ESC. They did also pick up that Drake, so in a very dominant position, 6-1. They have, however, lost that bottom turret, but they are still leading, picking up that top and middle turret as well. So we now do have Varus picking up the Bladed Ruin King, currently on 132 CS, to Caitlyn's 103, so he is definitely ahead in that bot lane. But the rest of his team not doing as well, with Varus with that only kill, and Kael on 0-4 right now, shaping up against that Grullen.
Yeah, and Kael will have quite a lot of damage just inbuilt into that kit, but obviously he's going to be playing a lot of protecting Varus duty here, and Amazing now actually potentially going to be going for this here. Does have that red buff, it's just going to keep chasing down D-Man, but not going to end up going for it instead. They're just going to keep pressuring this, and really ESC need, in fact, Varus to be in these next few team fights, because if If he doesn't appear and if he doesn't start influencing these fights, he is the only one who can reasonably fight against these quite fed Kazakhs, this quite fed Anivia, but he is going to have a lot of trouble putting that damage down. But if he doesn't, his team is liable to just crumble, and they're just going to keep losing more and more towers as this Anivia keeps shoving them all backwards. Brokey coming around behind now. I think he's just going to join up with the rest of the team.
Yeah, definitely couldn't agree more. However, Brokey he is in a good position. He is ahead and farming very well as well, and they do have a very good composition to keep everyone away from him. Basically, a protect the carry composition with the intervention and the fresh as well. Whether it's enough damage to really compete with that Anivia and all those assassins as well might be quite difficult with that front lane, maybe going down quite quickly because they are fairly squishy. Definitely with that Shen as well, not doing too great in that top lane.
Yeah, obviously Shen is going to continue split pushing though, so if any character is good at coming back, it is obviously going to be Shen. We're going to be picking up that bottom tower though, so Shen does have a Sunfire Cape which is going to help him pushing out, but he's not going to push out very, very fast. That is obviously the weakness in Shen as a split pusher, in that he doesn't clear waves nearly as fast as someone like Kazakhs, though obviously he never has to leave the lane, which means he over time will push harder. However, if he gets chased out by JWoww here, who is getting aggressive, has popped the ultimate, he's going to go for this. He's got the ignite down. Koi going to be taking a lot of damage, but I'm not sure he's going to go down quite fast enough. He's got too much armor. JWoww is probably going to have to chase this under the tower if he wants it, but he's not going to get it. And actually, sorry, in that mid jungle, Grulum has been taken down by Varus. Was presumably caught out by that chain of corruption. Elite is going to be jumping away onto the creeps and is now being chased out by Vi, but not going to be able to get anything done there.
Yeah, that however has meant the Grulum has gone down. Maybe ESC going to make something of this, but they are just backing off, not in a great position. Even with Grulum down, there's a lot of other damage threats, specifically Kazakhs and that Elise as well. They need to make sure that they are backing off and just not having everything being pushed down. And Kazakhs is taking up that top turret. Aggressive was going down as well, and amazing looking, maybe just to kind of ward ESC away from that top lane so JWoww can just kind of carry on dominating as he pushes down that top turret. The man also moving up there as well, but JWoww is basically out and safe.
Yeah, he's obviously going to be very, very slippery, and it looked like he just intended to keep on pressuring this top lane, keep on securing his advantages against Shen. And Shen right now just is not strong enough to fight him. He cannot keep this 1v1 lane going indefinitely. Obviously, if he's at the tower, then Kazakhs will very slowly whittle it down just by sheer minion pressure. But JWoww is actually going to just roam on towards this mid lane. The rest of the team will hopefully just join up with them soon enough. Shen continuing that split push. This is what he is probably going to be doing for the majority of the game, or at least until he takes that outer tower up top. He's going to just pressure top constantly.
Yeah, a safe bet right now from ESC would really just to kind of keep back, look to maybe stall it out. They do have a bit of range there, but not the greatest wave clearer in the world. They also have Shen just kind of keeping someone at that top lane at all times, and that would kind of distract from those team fights as well. But really from Peculiar Gaming, they are looking very strong right now, and their team fight's really not going to degenerate over time. And those assassins are only really going to get stronger, with Anivia being very strong as well. A great scaling AP carry when it gets into that late game, with that crystallized major factor in those team fights, potentially in those jungle fights. But meanwhile, on bottom we do have amazing, just moving around. Will D-Man not get caught out? He will just be backing off.
Ooh.
And go ahead.
Brokey took a cue to the face. It wasn't anything in the end. Anivia decided not to follow up on that. No huge deal there. But I will say though, if they do stall this out, ESC are going to start suffering from the pressure that Anivia can put down at a tower. She is incredibly good at zoning people away from the tower that they are trying to defend, even from out of their range for retaliation. Anivia can put down a wall and zone you away, allowing her AD carry to come in, do a couple of attacks, and have that obviously Glacial Storm keeping you even further away on top of that. So it might actually get to a point, depending on how Grulum plays this, where ESC, in spite of wanting to stall the game, might be forced to make engagements happen or to lose towers. And it looks like there's going to be a fight for this blue buff. Kale does actually pick that up, and D-Man is just going to back away. They're not wanting this fight. Obviously, Shen is still committed up top, and the longer it goes on without that fight happening, the better off they are. That dragon is going to be contested.
Yeah, and Peculiar Gaming taking it down very, very quickly with his headshots from Caitlyn doing extra damage. We do have ESC maybe in a bad position. Flash comes down, just whiffing that cocoon. However, Crystallizer come out as well, forcing that flash from that fresh. But the flash frost has gone down to Caruso. Massive damage coming out. Assassin composition doing so much damage. Caruso forced to back off, however, and he might be in a good position. Stan United came down actually from Shen, but he wasn't re-engaging. Maybe a little bit too late if they wanted to re-engage onto that one. But that was a Drake picked up and no actual casualties coming out. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. With that Grolem, if he does decide to go for that sort of pushing ground, they have a lot of poke. They have the volatile spiraling and Elisa's Q as well. That percent-based damage, they won't be able to poke them down. Flash Frost coming out. Also the Void Spikes from Kha'Zix, lots of damage, as well as Caitlyn, one of the best sieging AD carries with that massive 650 range.
Yeah, so the question is though, whether they're actually going to go for that pressure, because at the moment it looks like they have been taking control of the game. They have mostly been getting objectives over ESC, but they aren't really pressuring these towers at the moment. They may just be waiting it out until they are strong enough to start pressuring Baron, at which point they will have a very powerful objective to force. But I feel like they do want to be getting up to these towers, and they don't actually need to have that split push out from Kha'Zix. I feel like if they were to just group up and shove a tower, although Brokey going very low there against Hema, he's at a point now where one ace in the hole and a Piltover would probably be enough, so he's going to recall. But if they just grouped up and pressured one tower, although Shin would keep shoving, I feel like they could actually just poke it down.
Yeah, definitely, but ESC in quite a good position, well, not a great position, but they are still in the game, and they're only about maybe 5k behind right now, so if they do go for that initiation underneath that turret, it could potentially be disastrous from PG, and they're not at the stage where they necessarily need to go for an objective like one of those inner turrets. They're quite happy to kind of just wait it out, maybe even force a Baron fight as well, but they don't really want to let ESC come back into this game unnecessarily. But you know, EG in a good position where they could still go for these team fights, and they do have a Varus is doing pretty well. They have a very good composition as a front line to keep them away from him if they do decide to go underneath that turret.
Yeah, Varus right now is their saving grace. He is the major damage threat that they have available to them, and obviously they need him to get that farm, but right now it's risking quite a lot because it looks like PG may just go for this Baron here. They are actually currently not going to be baiting this out, they are actually doing it right now. JWoww is warding people off, and it looks like he might just go aggressive. They have got the Crystallize coming down. Oh, wow, he just got deleted. And it looks like Baron is going to go. I don't even see now if ESC could contest this, even if Varus was here. So yeah, this Baron goes straight to PG, and I don't think this is a good situation for ESC.
Yeah, ESC may be looking to pressure that mid turret, but they don't want to stick around in case PG do decide to just rotate in there and potentially take them out, because they are definitely stronger right now. And this could be the turning point in the game, because you were just saying, Swiddington, that he wanted to pressure down those turrets, but maybe not in the quiet position that they could do that. Now they have Baron, but they have that extra regen, and now in a very, very good position. And once again, Kha'Zix will be picking up that sort of split pushing role in that top lane, and we do have Shen maybe trying to stop him from doing so with that global teleport. Will be able to get out of that if needs be, but Kha'Zix very, very strong, and that mid turret already falling as they get pushed back into their base, and with a great wave clear as well from PG, not looking great from ESC's perspective.
Yeah, it's just sheer pressure right now. Grolem is actually gonna tank a tower shot, doesn't even really care, and this is what I mean. They are now having to deal with the poke at the tower, and Huma is actually doing a remarkably good job of putting down some damage there. Shen, meanwhile, is being pressured in this top lane, and I just don't see what ESC can do here. They have to try and hold on. They do still have good wave player. They have got a hook actually. He's going to be going in. Thresh is going to be going in. Going to be nearly deleted, but actually gets saved by Cal at the last second. Grolem has been egged. He is going to be taking a lot of damage, but I'm not sure they can put him down quite fast enough. They do take him out. Exhausted down on Broke. He has been exhausted, I think, only once in that fight, but Gianna obviously is no longer going to be available, and it looks like Brokey is looking to follow this up. They have got the Taunt going down. Koi is going to chase this down. They have got the Reckoning coming in on Hummer, and it looks like maybe this is a turnaround because ESC did not take kindly to being overcommitted against. It does look like PG are going to get away with their AD carry and with their support only. Very nicely played there by ESC, and they are going to pressure this tower.
Yeah, and that's the strength of ESC right now. They are behind, and even though Peculiar Gaming did have that Baron buff, they were still able to initiate on them, and it come out very, very favorably. Fantastic death sentence over that wall from Ryman Simon, opening that engage up, and then following up with the intervention, just keeping him alive, and with all that burst going on to Fresh, not the ideal target when you have Brokey dealing all that damage. Intervention went down, sealing the deal, and just making sure that he wasn't bursted down, and it was a lot of, basically a lot of cooldowns wasted on that. So yeah, we did have ESC maybe coming back into us and into this and just keeping them away. They did, however, lose 2 turrets, but it does show that they are able to fight back.
Yeah, just that sheer, I mean, if you were to calculate like the gold efficiency effectively there, the cooldown efficiency of that intervention from Kayle, I think it must have absorbed, you know, 3,000 or 4,000 points of damage just sheerly that would completely nullified. So even though they won that fight, even though now there is no Baron buff available, I'd still say that PG are in the driving seat, but they're going to have to play it more cautiously now. They are obviously not as far ahead as they were, although it does look like Varus. Brokey here is in a bit of a spot. He is going to try and avoid this. Have actually got Shen coming in on top of it, and now Grulum is in the bad situation. Does manage to flash the taunt, but it looks like the Chain of Corruption is going to come down. Wall goes down. Grulum is going to get down in just a second. The stun was enough to stun Brokey, but not actually able to keep him away, but Kha'Zix is going to pressure top.
It was so well played from Brokey, duking into the brush, cutting vision from the fact that Shen was actually teleporting in, and it was way too late. Grulum just face checked the brush and then realized what was happening to him. Shen able to follow up and picking up that kill. Once again, Grulum getting caught, one of their key players, and again, they're not in a great position to push. They are looking to get into this position where they're pushing in all of these lanes, and they know that a team fight really isn't on the cards for them maybe at the moment, because if they are pushing up to those turrets, if they get engaged upon, they have so much lockdown to keep them at that turret that they don't really want that engagement to happen. Whereas if they go ahead and split push, where they have good split pushes with that great wave clear, then they're probably in a better position because they can just get out by themselves instead of being constantly locked down with one AoE ultimate on top of each other. But you know, if one of Purely Gaming gets caught, then that's going to put a problem in their plan.
Yeah, obviously it's still them in the control of all the objectives at the moment though, so they definitely feel like in an open fight PG will win. In fact, both teams are feeling that that is the case. So the question is, how can PG apply that pressure in these tower siege situations? They do have a very good sieging team, you would have thought, but it looks like at the moment you've actually got some really nice engages coming in. The question is whether PG just keeps going with the same strategy and just trying to avoid getting initiated upon in the same way. I am curious to see when Egg will be coming back up for Anivia, because that's actually quite important. I don't think I can actually check that in spectator mode, but I would think it won't be too long, and at that point they can afford to start playing a lot more aggressively again. She is obviously free Guardian Angel for a passive is incredibly strong, and he's actually going to go for the stun on D-Man. He has been stunned, has been locked down, has been forced to blow his ultimate, is still being walled in, and amazing. He's going to follow this up. Bite goes down, but he has actually got that repel, choosing to disengage rather than to engage though. And it looks like D-Man is actually going to be forced to... Sorry, we've actually got Chain of Corruption going down and Firelocks going very, very low. Not going to get blown up. Brokey, on the other hand, is potentially not going to be blown up. Is blown up in spite of the Shen ultimate shield on top of him. And now JWoww is playing cleanup crew on aisle 7. He is just destroying everyone. Triple kill there. Jumping around between everyone. But Grulum actually potentially getting caught out here. Has been taunted, but will only get egged. And so an egg Nivea there is just going to be okay. Koi gonna be trying to keep himself alive. JWoww nicely tanking out that tower, and very convincing win for PG.
Yeah, they will be able to pick up this turret and maybe an inhibitor off the back of that one. That was such a well-executed team fight, and as you said, the cleanup coming from JWoww, absolutely insane. Getting those resets on his leap and just doing so much damage with Taste Their Fear. And now they will be pushing down into this bottom lane, and as I said, probably picking up this inhibitor as well, probably backing off after that. I feel that Baron's probably going to be coming up fairly shortly. Crystallize goes down as well, just keep Cruiser away. If they can potentially get a pick, that would be great, but I don't think that Peculiar Game's going to let that happen.
Yeah, and now they have a much bigger problem. ESC is going to have to somehow hold off that pressure from that bottom lane while simultaneously holding off the pressure in that top lane. They do have Shen ultimate available, so they can just send Shen bot to stall out that lane and look to just kind of 4v5 hold, stalling at their towers in the top lane and potentially at Baron. But the thing is, if that gets baited out even once now, if Shen makes one bad call then this game is probably going to be over, because it will be a free Baron or a free inhib, and then you know, if he is denied that ultimate ability, then they are in a horrible situation, because they have to send 4v5. And actually, we've got Caruso going aggressive here, has ultimated onto JWoww, who is stealth, but the hook misses Nivea there, but is going to actually take out Caruso and then jump out. Ignite is still ticking though on JWoww. He does go down to Shen. We have got Ryman Simon getting blown up by Amazing. Brokey is trying to escape this. He has already used Chain of Corruption. Hail of Arrows is up though, and it is a very good stalling ability. Koi going to be running away, and that was actually a 2-for-1 at the behest of ESC, who started that fight off in a disadvantageous position.
Yeah, fantastic crystallize actually from Gullum, just splitting them up and basically giving JWoww more time to just deal with Caruso, chunking that tank down very, very quickly. And now they will be moving onto this Baron as well, using the Spiderlings to tank as best Amazing can. We will have maybe Varus and D-Man looking to contest this, but it's going down very, very quickly. They do not have a smite available, and I don't think he's actually going to make that decision, because one of them falling at this stage would potentially mean, however, he has been caught by the Cocoon over the wall, where he can follow with Repel as well. Is not going to happen, and Flash Frost just goes down and whiffs out of the way of Koi, but they won't be forced to back up. That is another Baron going to Peculiar Gaming, and once again, they might be in that position where they're just going to try and force mid, and we do have a pause coming down, but now with that bottom inhibitor out, they're going to need someone to commit to that, and forcing a team fight is a lot harder. And if they do commit in that team fight, they need to do it as fast as possible before they get pushed in, because with that inhibitor, it's going to be way harder, and Vi has apparently DC'd, so we'll be waiting on that one.
Yeah, could be waiting for a little while. I don't know how long it will take to get that reconnection in, but still a very nice performance. Oh, actually pretty quick, so no huge problems there. Don't have to fill in that 30-minute pause timer again, which was a very awkward thing I had to do with you, Pulse, recently, which we ended up just talking about anything and nothing. But anyway, going to be jumping to live, because obviously the pause does screw with the replay system a little bit, and we are going into game again.
Just gonna go ahead and jump to live. There we are. And yep, we just have Grolin picking up that blue buff from the enemy team as well, denying all of these objectives. And the nasty thing from ESC's perspective is, one, they have that inhibitor down, and the Baron is out as well, picked up by Peculiar Gaming, but now they've lost control of their jungle, so they're not going to be able to get any of those buffs. However, a lot of their power is centralized on Brokey. If they can keep him alive, and they have a very good composition from doing so, they might maybe layering that intervention on top of him. If those assassins do jump onto his face, then he might be in a good position, but they need that to happen under turret, and with that inhibitor gone, it's going to be very, very difficult to get that type of team fight from ESC favorably.
They do have several means to engage pretty reliably, though. They do have Thresh Hook, which would probably be the ideal situation, but might not be as reliable. They do have Chain of Corruption, which I think Brokey will want to hold on to if he can, but will be willing to blow if it gets them the right engagement, because he will want to hold on to it, because obviously it is a very good tool for kiting. It'll keep him alive a lot longer. And we have actually got Kale. Kale not being a very reliable engagement source, but Vi is probably the one they will want to go in for. They will have that Vault Breaker, and she will be able to just try and dive onto Caitlyn. But the question is whether PG can poke them down enough at this tower, whether they can start poking the tower down enough to make it so that ESC have to make the engagement happen themselves. At which point they are suddenly putting themselves into a very, very difficult situation, because obviously the defender always has the advantage in these situations, and Anivia is the king of not letting you engage correctly.
Yes, indeed. So the only real chance, once again, is maybe to try and get a carbon copy of that first engagement, which went so well for them. But we just have Kha'Zix moving up top, chunking it up, and just chipping each one of these towers one at a time. And you can only feel that eventually these towers will fall, because they are dropping quite low. But however, that's a fantastic hook onto Helmer. They are looking for this engage. Box goes down as well into the Sword and Battery. Caitlyn will be immediately dropping 4 vs 5, but JWoww jumping onto that bot line and back line, just decimating that carry and Ryman Simon as well. Triple kill now coming out with those resets coming out. Lead comes down once again. JWoww looking to pick up another kill. Quadra kill comes out. And Grolin picking up that last kill onto D-Man, and that will bring it to the GG. Well played. Moving on to this Nexus and Peculiar Gaming, bringing this series to a 2-1 so far. And remember, guys, this is a best of 5, so they need to win one more to bring this to an actual victory.
Yeah, and that puts ESC in a very difficult position where they will have to win several games in order to get to a position of even being, you know, at contention with the enemy. So yeah, very nicely played, and that really, honestly, that entire victory for PG just started in the laning phase. Amazing setup, so many kills, set up so many good ganks. Even though Varus was doing better than Caitlyn, those solo lane assassins and that Anivia obviously set themselves up so well for that late game, and they just pressured and pressured and pressured and took so many objectives, and eventually they got just the engagements they wanted. First that bottom one that took the inhib, and then that final fight there in the mid. Still, nicely played.
Yes, indeed. So we now will be jumping into a quick break, but when we get back, we will be in the 4th game today, and I believe it will be you casting with Broken Shard once again as he comes back onto the stream. And yeah, we should be back for some more great League of Legends action, so don't go anywhere, guys. Stay tuned.